Paid ad platforms for your e-commerce brand have been lying to you this entire time. Today, what I'm going to go through is basically using my 13 years experience in entrepreneurship and e-commerce brand ownership and help you understand how we should be reading our paid ads metrics. So my name is Will De Bruin. If you don't know me, I started an e-commerce brand in 2013 with my brother. We left our corporate jobs and started from the kitchen bench. We bootstrapped the business the entire way through. And that brand has since gone on to do multiple seven figures. So I actually now help e-commerce brands scale to their first 10K, 20K month and beyond that as they excel through the program. So what I want to bring to your attention, if you weren't aware, is how we should actually be reading our metrics. I'll go through a concept I call blended metrics, which is blended ROAS and blended CPAs. Now, this is incredibly important because as the years of paid ads have gone on, the ad platforms have been restricted in terms of their privacy from other avenues such as Meta and Google and everything to do with compliance and also to do with their actual tracking of that data, okay, targeting and traffic and reporting. And so what we now find within Meta, for a really example, is that there is an inaccuracy of about 20%, 30% of inaccurate data when it comes to off-site. So all of your data on-site, meaning your spend, your impressions, your reach, your clicks, your cost per clicks, that is likely 100% accurate. But when it comes to your pixel data, the stuff that happens on site, there's a very good chance that it is 25 to 30% out, right? Firstly, that it's not able to track those metrics because of privacy, as mentioned, but also there's like a 42-hour, 72-hour delay likely with that data as well. Now, this is across platforms, whereas Google, TikTok, Pinterest, whatever advertising platform you're using, it's completely relevant in the same way. But the most common advertising platform is going to be Meta for most e-commerce brands, especially doing less than 10 or 20K per month. So even if you are just advertising on one platform, this is going to be relevant to you. It's even more important if you're advertising across multiples. And I want to explain it in this way. So we obviously have a very real understanding of what we're putting in. The dollars we're spending, that's gospel. But in terms of the returns that we're seeing in our ads managers respectively, no matter which one you're using or multiples, that is not going to be entirely accurate. So likely it's going to be very much underreporting what our real results are. So what we need to do, and this is what I've experienced and help people understand so that they can scale their brands, is essentially looking at profitability levels, not in platform, but out of platform. So this is where the blended concept comes into it. So what we're basically looking at is what's our total ad spend across platforms, even if it's just one, and then what is our total revenue and sales numbers regardless of the platform. So that's where we would take the gospel numbers of what actually transacted through Shopify. Now, the reason this is so important, I mentioned obviously the accuracy from in-platform, but secondary to that is the actual customer journey. You know, you basically got people who are spending days on your site looking, they're seeing multiple marketing channels, and then they go and make a decision. Now, what breaks the camel's back in terms of the marketing effort? We don't even know. And that person probably doesn't even know if you went and asked them. So I don't know, I saw that organic post and I saw an email, then I saw an ad, then I just went to the site and I bought. Okay, so what we need to do, it's even more important to say, well, what was the leading factor? We actually don't know. There might be that initial stage, but then there's the end point. Now, you can see this data in your Shopify store. If you go to your orders, you look down the right-hand side and look at the actual order details, you can see how long they were on site for, meaning how many days they were basically considering to purchase. And you can also see the touch points where they actually came from in terms of a traffic source. So it might say organic or direct. It might say Google ad. It might say Meta ad. It might say Klaviyo. There might be multiple tracking mechanisms in there. And that's as accurate as we can basically get about where people actually came from. We can try and make sense of the data within their respective platforms as well, right? So these are the numbers I want you to look at in terms of your profitability, your scalability, and whether you know you can put more dollars into to scale your brand or not. Okay, this is what we teach our clients in the paid communities. So firstly, let's look at our blended ROAS, right? So that metric is basically our total revenue, right, from Shopify, total revenue for, say, let's call it the month, okay, divided by the total ad spend. So if that's just Meta, that's just Meta. If it's Meta and Google, it's Meta and Google. You plus those together. That's going to be our blended ROAS and what that actually comes out to be. That's going to be a lot more favorable than the individual platform, but it's a lot more accurate because it's a 10,000 foot view. And as you grow and scale and get more complex with your marketing strategies or ad channels, it's even more important to see the holistic picture. Okay. Because if Meta, you're doing a top of funnel, you're just trying to get people through and then they get retargeted on another channel or they get, picked up in the emails, for example, and buy, would they have bought if they hadn't have seen the ad in the first place? Probably not. Like, you can draw those conclusions. So we need to look at the business as a whole. The second metrics is our blended cost per acquisition. So what we can do there is look at our total ad spend. So if it's just Meta, it's just Meta. If it's Meta and Google, we plus those metrics together. And then we divide it by the number of sales that came through. So whether that's 10 sales that month or 100 sales that month, we divide the total ad spend by that. And that gives us an accurate cost per acquisition, our blended cost per acquisition. So that is the number that we need to look at, including the blended ROAS, to see if we can actually scale and grow, if we can tip more money in. Okay, you're obviously going to be in charge of what you see in your bank account from that perspective. But if the numbers are within KPI, then we can have the confidence that we're going to get the blended returns. Now, that doesn't supplement any other strategy that we're actually doing. In fact, we should be doubling and tripling time anyway on our organic efforts, our email efforts, etc. But when it comes to ads specifically, you can have and draw conclusions and have confidence that your ads are actually performing their function. We just have to recoup the profitability and make sure that they convert through the other channels as well. Okay, so this is a really, really important concept. As I say, it gets even more important as you get higher in spend, higher in scale, and have more areas you actually have to watch over. So the businesses that I see doing 7 to 8 figures a year have the simplest way of analyzing these things exactly as I've explained. So we as smaller businesses doing that less than 10, less than 20, less than 50K per month need to also adopt simple ways of looking at our data and our metrics to make key decisions about whether we can grow and scale. So what I've explained is really important and something we explain in our paid communities as well about how to actually see the bigger picture of your business. Okay, obviously it's going to tell you if you're profitable, it's going to tell you if you're not profitable, but we need to sometimes zoom out of our ads accounts, whatever one they are, and look at it on a 10,000 view on a macro level. Yes, we want to look at the micro level, of course. We want to look at how ads and campaigns are actually performing individually, on their own 2 legs, but we also want to keep things in perspective and look at the reality of how the business is performing from an ads dollars in to revenue and sales out. Okay, so look, this is all I wanted to chat through. I hope this was valuable for you. If it was, I'd love a like, I'd love a subscribe. You can obviously go and look at your metrics. If you want to know how we help e-commerce brands, you can click on the link below and check that out and book a call if it sounds like you might be the right fit for what we do or what you're looking for. But other than that, I really appreciate you watching to this point. And again, hope it was valuable for you, and I will catch you in the next video. See you then.